Hey, you guys, on today's show, the Democrats are not in support of the SAVE Act. I wonder why. Let's discuss it today on the Angela Box Show.
Hello, my name is Angela Box. Show your fucking money.
Okay, the SAVE Act, which if you don't know what that is, the Democrats are doing their level best to make you think that it's a relic of slavery, essentially. The SAVE Act was pushed by President Trump and basically said, you need to be prove that you're a U.S. citizen to vote, and you need to show a photo ID to vote. Now, there's other things involved in it, but those are the two big ones. And these are like common sense things because 83% of the American people, and I think that's a low number, 83% say you should have a photo ID to vote. In fact, it's gone up and up and up over the years as the American people understand the Democrats' game. And this should seem like a no-brainer, right? Well, it passed the House, and it's just idling there in the Senate. And Chuck Schumer let it be known that it's dead on arrival in the Senate because, again, slavery. And he went on CNN and he fixed his face to say that the reason that they are opposing the SAVE Act is because it's like Jim Crow 2.0. Roll that clip.
There's a new Pew Research poll that 95% of Republicans, but also 71% of Democrats like this idea. So why do you not?
It's Jim Crow 2.0. And I called it Jim Crow 2.0, and the right wing went nuts all over the internet. That's because they know it's true. What they're trying to do here is the same thing that was done in the South for decades to prevent people of color from voting. For instance, if you change, you're a woman who got married and changed your last name, you won't be able to show ID and you'll be discriminated against. If you can't find a birth certificate or a proper ID, you'll be discriminated against. This is vicious and nasty. And I said to our Republican colleagues, it will not pass the Senate. You will not get a single Democratic vote in the Senate. We're not reviving Jim Crow all over the country. And when the American people hear what exactly it is doing and what its intent is doing, they're going to be against it as well.
I mean, it's so unbelievable. And it got me to thinking. I used to say in front of videos back in the day when I had my ISIS bride black backdrop, I used to say before every video, here's your daily reminder that the Democrat Party and woke corporations think black people and brown people are too stupid or too helpless to have a photo ID to vote. And I said it for years and years and years because that is what it is all about. And they are so afraid that this is actually going to get passed. The more the American people are pushing for this, and the more they are scratching their heads going, how come you don't want to present an ID to vote? How come you don't want to have one-day voting and get rid of these machines and have paper ballots? How come you don't want to do all those things? Could it be because you have to cheat in order to win? In fact, our friend, Representative Ratchet, a few months ago let the cat out of the bag. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, she basically said, yes, if we have to show photo ID, that means that we don't do as well. Roll that clip.
There was a benefit to shining a light on what it was that they were trying to do in the dark in Texas. So unfortunately, we've seen our numbers fall now that they have these voter restrictions in place. But I do think it's important for us to have the conversation around the.
So this should be no surprise that Chuck Schumer is once again insulting black people. Because here's what he thinks about black people. And this is what the Democrat Party thinks, by and large. I mean, whether it's calling a black ICE agent an Uncle Tom N, or, saying, oh my gosh, black kids at school, well, they can't be expected to, behave like white kids. We should just let them act like zoo animals and run around and disrupt our classrooms and make everyone's lives a living hell because they can't help it, you guys. Y'all, in 2014, Barack Obama put a mandate in that said if you cannot send black and brown kids to the office because they were being disproportionately sent to the office. And I'm like, as a teacher, I was like, well, they're the ones doing the stuff. So we were screwed. Anyway, the point is that Democrats think that black people are wholly incapable of acting in a civilized manner. That is why they excuse all manner of horrible, out of control behavior all the time. They continue to do it until the end of time. I will remind everybody that Lyndon B. Johnson, during the Great Society, when that was passed, when the welfare state was created, he said, now I'm going to have those black people voting, now I'm going to have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years, because that basically destroyed the black community. Huzzah and huzzah. And
to all my black brothers and sisters, if you can't tell by now, the clear plan of the Democrats is to replace us with immigrant communities from around the world. And the reason why is because foundational black Americans ideologically have never been and still are not liberals. And once the black community as a whole wakes up to this, we will stop voting for Democrats. I'm sure of it. And the people who run the Democratic Party have been aware of this for a very long time. Hence the need to replace us over time. The reason why most black Americans traditionally have not been ideologically liberal is because most of us were raised with a worldview that coincided with biblical teachings. And this is something within the black community that we should be proud of and cling to. Many of us can see in real time that there is an effort to remove God and biblical teachings from everything we learn in school and also everything we see in entertainment. And this connection with God and biblical teachings has always been a strength of the black community in America. Think about it. What gave our ancestors the strength to keep fighting throughout all the things they went through? It was the understanding that God was going to make a way, no matter how bleak the circumstances looked at the time. And if there's one thing I want my black brothers and sisters to understand in current day, it's that we are our ancestors, and we need to embrace that. Modern day progressive thinking has convinced the black community as a whole that we need to reinvent the wheel. But if you ask me, I think if the black community would just lean further into our roots, we would see a seismic positive shift. And you may ask, well, what are our roots? The answer is very simple, and most of us actually know our roots intrinsically, but we never actually think about it. Our roots are our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, and the things that they did. Like going to church every Sunday, going to Bible study on Wednesday nights, being selfless and making sure that others in the community had what they needed, working hard for what we have and being grateful that we have it. These are the characteristics that have always made up the black community up until recent history. And we have the ability to be successful independent of any other ethnic group helping us out. And I know this because we've done it before. Like I stated in multiple other videos, the 100 years following the Emancipation Proclamation was a clear blueprint on how the black community can be successful in this country. A lot of people ask me, how can we change the black community in America and make it better? And I think that the answer to that question lies really within our roots and what we've done in the past.
So using words like Jim Crow, which doesn't exist anymore. There are no separate but equal anything. There are no whites only water fountains or blacks only schools, even though, woke black people want to have black only dorm rooms and black only graduations. But, that's fine. That's fine. That's black people taking ownership and segregating themselves. But whatever. It sounds Jim Crow-y to me. But Chuck Schumer knows that a lot of his constituents, a lot of the Democrat Party, black people, black women especially, are highly emotional, and they're going to fall for that shit. Instead of taking a step back and going, hang on a minute, I function in the world day to day doing lots of things that require an ID. Why do you think I'm not able or incapable of presenting a photo ID in order to vote?
Opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
People don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. That's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with.
Black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
Like, what's that about? And of course, that's what it's all about, isn't it? And when more and more black people realize that not only do the Democrat Party need to cheat in order to win, thank you, Representative Ratchet, for clearing that up for us, as if we didn't know, but also that the Democrat Party thinks that black people are stupid. Well, this is now being presented because even John Thune, who is no MAGA person, okay? If it were up to him, Donald Trump would not be president. It would be Mike Pence or someone of that ilk, okay? John Thune is even like, yeah, we're going to be bringing the SAVE Act to the floor, but the reason he hasn't is because he's giving cover right now to a bunch of rhinos. My guess would be like John Cornyn, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, who knows, Rand Paul, Tom Tillis, I don't know. A few. He's giving cover to those people, okay? Because otherwise he would be bringing it to the floor. But that's why we've got to demand that the SAVE Act gets to the Senate floor. It's passed in the House. It's passed. And President Trump is ready to sign it. And this needs to get done before the election because they're going to do everything they can in order to cheat, just like they did in 2020, just like they did in 2016, and going back and going back and going back and going back, okay? We have to get this done. So this is why the filibuster must get rid of the filibuster, okay? I understand that you have a little gentleman's agreement there in the Senate, and you're like, oh, all the Republicans are like, oh, but if we get rid of the filibuster, once they get into power, they're going to pass all kinds. You don't think that they're going to get rid of the filibuster? Clock it. Within 30 seconds, they'll get rid of that filibuster if they take power again. Y'all are stupid, okay? But it just goes to show you that there is no Republican and Democrat, really. It's the uniparty. There's like a handful of good ones, all right? But if they want to stay in power, they're going to do what the American people want them to do. And that is to vote on the SAVE Act, okay? Get the photo ID, get the citizenship proof in order to vote, get the one-day voting, get all the other things in the SAVE Act. It is a no-brainer, but because the more you say that black people are not capable of having a photo ID to vote, the more black people wake up to the reasons you don't want photo ID to vote. So, by all means, flame on! Alright, that's where I'm going to leave today's video. Please let me know what you think down below. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. And remember to keep kicking ass and taking names and to always let thy will be done.